Hello, everyone, and thank you and welcome to Amir Shakur Speaks show with your host, Amir Shakur. That'll be me. Hey, listen, got an interesting show for you guys tonight, and we're going to be discussing historical things. An update on our brother Mr. Cruz, who scheduled to join us, but nonetheless, we will continue on. This is how media works. So we are hopefully he's okay, but I'm just wanting to let you guys know that our show is gonna move forward with determination. So I'd like to welcome you to Amir Shakur Speaks, which brings the best in information, faith, and politics, all done from an inspirational perspective. So if you have not done so, please hit the like and subscribe. And tonight's show is sponsored by the Chicago Urban Daily. Remember, your voice matters, so let's stand up and speak out. Uh, on February 16th, 2026, we are leading a pioneering free training programs, partnering with LinkedIn, Facebook, and SoundCloud to empower the community and empower individuals to be a part of this global influencer network. So please, if you guys are interested, please feel free to reach out to me and my producers and some of my show team, and we'll have a conversation with you. Please follow my social media, and we'll be talking about this program a little bit more. It's basically how to become a global influencer, and definitely a lot going on right now in the World Wide Web, in the world, and computers and AI and technology is empowering us to unlock the potential of this digital landscape. It's really, really amazing what you can do with a computer these days, right? So anyway, with that being said, the training sessions will be held every Thursday, starting on live stream, starting this coming week. And I just want to let you guys know again, if you want to embark on a journey and learn more about the influencer world, email Amir Shakur speaks at gmail.com. I'm going to put that in the chat, and that way you guys can see it. And that's going to be there. So you want to email Amir Shakur speaks at gmail.com. So with that being said, yeah, we'll go ahead and feed the ducks, for lack of better use of the word. All right. So every month, every week this month, every show this month, we're honoring Black history, right? So basically, our main topic of conversation is this is the legacy show for Reverend Jesse Jackson, and it made sense to just make sure that Mr. Jackson, Reverend Jackson, Pastor Jackson, whatever you call Jesse Jackson, towering figure in American civil rights, and he deserves his respect in his as a historical footnote. You know, let's give him his due. Let's give him his due props, because he's definitely he's definitely made history. And like I said, he was a towering figure in the American civil rights movement. He came from the same organization that I come from, and I'm not bragging, and I don't consider myself like a Dr. King or a Jesse even, but I do have an understanding of the magnitude of this lineage. So Reverend Jackson, a two-time presidential candidate, a Baptist minister, passed away a few days ago on February 17th at the age of 84 after a long journey with progressive neurological disorder. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the key things about Reverend Jackson. And if you're just joining us, here we go. If you guys have been following the show, I want you guys to chime in and really talk about Reverend Jackson and his accomplishments. His legacy, in full transparency, his legacy is really a two-way street, sometimes a three-way street. It just depends on who you talk to. There are people who love the man, and there are people who don't care for the man. And I do believe that me as a Chicagoan and someone who understands that Reverend Jackson was a protege of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I believe that, his Dr. King's assassination set the stage for Reverend Jackson and others to take the mantle that Dr. King held at the SCLC. And for those who don't know, it's the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. It's the organization which I proudly was a part of. To this day, I am proud of my accomplishments there. And obviously it wasn't during the civil rights era. Obviously it was later on, probably from 2008 to 2013. But as a chapter president in North Carolina, Charlotte to be exact, I was in and out of the SCLC headquarters a lot, and met some great people, had some great mentorship. So going back to Reverend Jackson, I just don't want to take time away from him. What he was and what he represented, I understand. Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Operation Breadbasket, and later founded Operation Push in 1971, and then the Rainbow Push Coalition in 1984. Presidential campaigns. He ran historic presidential campaigns for the Democratic Party, and that was in 1984 and 1988. While he did not win, he really registered millions of new voters and became the first African American to win a majority party state primary, right? That's huge. The international diplomacy, known as the International Ambassador for Peace, he successfully negotiated the release of U.S. hostages and prisoners in Syria, Cuba, Iraq, and Yugoslavia. So I think these accomplishments are well worth saying. I want to go ahead and get to a presentation for Reverend Jackson. So I'm going to do a shared screen and I want you guys to understand the historical footnote of Reverend Jackson and what he represented. So let's go ahead and get to that. And let me pull that up and let's just play a little bit about that. Let's see if I can
I am somebody speech in its full glory. The crowd passionately repeated every phrase word for word.
But I am somebody. I am black.
He was 22 here in Chicago at the height of the civil rights movement. Growing up in South Carolina to an unmarried teenage mother, he was like all Black Americans at the time, forced to accept he was inferior simply because of the color of his skin. He was badly affected by the police beatings of Black demonstrators in Selma, Alabama in 1965. It was here that he met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed.
King became his mentor and appointed him as the youngest member of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He was a key member of Martin Luther King Jr.'s entourage and was with him on that fateful day in 1968 on the balcony of the hotel in Memphis. What happened that day shadowed the way Jesse Jackson was viewed for decades, criticized for trying to steal the spotlight after the assassination and for trying to position himself as the natural successor. But that didn't stop his political ambitions.
This campaign has taught me much, that leaders must be tough enough to fight, tender enough to cry, human enough to make mistakes, humble enough to admit them, strong enough to absorb the pain, and resilient enough to bounce back and keep on moving.
Despite the fervent enthusiasm, it wasn't enough to secure the Democrat nomination. Or again, when he tried in 1988. His oratory, though, had the power to electrify the crowds.
We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. On tomorrow night.
So where we're at with this is that Reverend Jackson, for years and years, was one of the major forces in not just urban America, but politics in general. And from our standpoint, and from many folks, you can really see the breadcrumbs that allowed a Barack Obama to become the first African-American president of the United States of America. Very intriguing, y'all. So I want to say that in essence, we are here in a lot of things that we are looking at in the current climate of America, in American politics, especially in urban communities. Reverend Jackson definitely had his hand in organizing, especially from the standpoint of the Black community. So, tributes had poured out from leaders across the political spectrum, including Donald Trump, who called him a force of nature, Barack Obama, who described him as a true giant. I wanted to share a video with a little bit of his children, and they were speaking out today in reference to their experience with their father, and I think it's very relevant that we show this video. So let me just bring up a little bit of the press conference, and before we go forward, if you have joined our show for the first time, please like and subscribe. Follow the show. We are here talking tonight about the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. So that's the main core of our show. And definitely 1 second, and let's go ahead and pull up the press conference.
With the family, we ask that you would guide them. We ask that you would encourage and comfort them. So thank you for letting us be up close and personal to a man who can never be forgotten, the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Cell phones are always in the shot.
Thank you, and
in the shot.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone for coming out. My job is simply to offer a warm thank you to you and to so many people. My first thank you is to the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., my father, our dad. We call him leadership. We call him Reverend. He has set such an example for us and our city and our family. He has been a lion among lions, stubborn to the very, very end for his body of work that allows us this opportunity at one level to unite the country and our city. We give him thanks and we give him grace. I ask that you join me in giving Reverend Jesse L. Jackson a rousing round of applause. Thank you to the tens of thousands, perhaps millions of people here at home and around the world who've taken interest in my father's health. With visits and messages, your thoughts and sincere prayers at home and in church, throughout his life, really, especially over the last 10 years of his courageous battle with progressive supranuclear palsy. The last 2 years, the degree's progression has been acute, and so have the care assignments. Thank you to my father's volunteer assistants and the daily health care providers at Lifestyle Options and others who helped him maintain his daily schedule. As the disease began to more severely compromise his speech and mobility, he required more. Thank you to the care team and administrators at Journey Care who helped us maintain his dignity and comfort over the last few months. To the healthcare administrators at Lifestyle Options who were caring and flexible enough to amend their schedules and amend my father's care schedule to ease the burden of the daily care schedule on my 81-year-old, forever dutiful mother, Mrs. Jacqueline L. Jackson. To the medical staff and administrators at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Shirley Ryan, the emergency rooms, the security teams, on behalf of each of us, we thank you. We sincerely thank you. May God bless and keep you. May He offer grace for your holy healthcare work. Our father is a man who dedicated his life to public service, to gain, protect, and defend civil rights and human rights, to make our nation better, to make the world more just, our people better neighbors with each other. Born in Greenville, South Carolina in 1941 in the throes of Jim Crow, he quickly became maladjusted to injustice. He challenged those entrenched Southern systems of poverty and racial inequality, landing in jail at 17 years old, protesting for the right to use a public library. He won that battle. He kept winning these fights against injustice and inequality all of his life. Through college, continuing the work to lead students to segregate lunch counters in Greensboro, North Carolina, to helping secure voters' rights, leading marches across the Edmund Pettus Bridge at the second and third marches in March 1965. To his work in Chicago, his tireless efforts with ministers and businessmen, and Operation Breadbasket, Operation Push Excel, and on to his national work with the Rainbow Coalition, the Rainbow Push Coalition, and the Wall Street Project. On the field of life, his shoes were well worn. His uniform, dirty with the stripes.
Sorry, I think that we were experiencing technical difficulties, but if you're just joining us, we're actually discussing Reverend Jackson and his historical footmark in America. And I believe that he's someone who has had the who really has had a historical footmark in America. So we can't second guess that. And what it is that he was about was the fight for people's rights, and later on it became voting rights. I literally was at Operation Push, and I did a show with Reverend Jackson to talk about the subject matter and expanding into his work into international affairs in the 80s. He became the vocal critic of the Reagan administration and launched the presidential campaign in 1984, as we had discussed. Initially viewed as a French candidate, but he finished third for the Democratic nomination behind former Vice President Walter Mondale and Senator Gary Hart. And I think that had things been different in a different day and age, he might have been the first Black president of the United States of America. He continued his activism and mounted a second presidential campaign in 1988. And I believe that with that campaign, I believe that he was very successful in, again, organizing voting rights. So I definitely want to talk more about what it is and the information in reference to Jesse Jackson and the historical footmark. And let's be transparent here. I would definitely say that Reverend Jackson was definitely a controversial figure as well. Some controversial things, and we'll talk a little bit about those things, but definitely feel free to share your insight about Reverend Jackson. Now, with that being said, definitely we have a special guest tonight, and our special guest is someone who is definitely been part of a controversy himself, right? And he's a great guy, great man, and he's doing historical work as well. I'm going before I bring my special guest on, who's going to join me in the final part of the Reverend Jackson conversation. But I just want to talk a little bit about my special guest and who he is and what he's all about. And let's go ahead and I want to, better yet, why don't I just bring him to the stage, and then I can allow him to introduce himself, and then I'll follow up and I'll give him a great introduction. How about that? All right. Mr. Cruz, how are you?
Good. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Hey, I'm blessed. And I'm even better now that you're here, right?
No doubt. Man, indeed, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Well, you know what? I think that it's worthy of, what it is and what you're about. We were a little bit nervous about the segment and that you weren't able to make it, but I am glad that you did. So that's worthy. So I appreciate you coming on. So can you just introduce yourself and just do a brief summary, and then I'll follow up with a little bit more in-depth summary of what it is. All right.
I'm Trent Cruz. I'm the co-founder of BLM Minnesota here in Minnesota. Been doing work on the ground for about 12 years now. And so I'm also, I'm the former chair, but just coming off being the chair of the St. Paul Recovery Act Community Reparations Commission. And right now I'm a commissioner still on that same commission. So working on police accountability and reparatory justice here in the state of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And so let's just the brief synopsis of why I asked Mr. Cruz to come on. So just for full transparency, I consider you a friend of mine, an associate of mine, right? Long term,
Yes,
right?
sir.
We've
Yes,
definitely
sir.
We've definitely stood together on the ground. Probably roughly, it was about how long ago was that? 16, right?
Yeah.
So we in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't that long ago. I thought it was longer than that. So we stood on the ground and did some things in Indianapolis, Indiana. You've always been a leader in the Black Lives Matters movement. You've always been a social justice activist. So for those who don't know, one of the and I'll tell you about the important things that Turn has done, but one of the things that has happened as of lately is he was actually arrested with Don Lemon and Georgia Ford and the other gentleman. What was his name, Turn?
Mr. Lundy, and I think there was a brother named Jerome.
Yeah, so he was arrested. They were arrested in a church in Minneapolis. Definitely a President Trump hit job, I would say, nonetheless. As far as just doing a protest in the church, and the charges were, we'll talk a little bit more about that and talk about things. And I know that there's some things that you can't discuss because it is an ongoing scenario. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because of the ongoing legal matters, but we're also going to find ways to support you. So, but let's go ahead and get into it. So, Turn is a St. Paul native from the Rondo community, whose ancestors came through the U.S. chattel slavery. Turn is the chair of the St. Paul Recovery Community Reparations Commission. I know you from Black Lives Matters, Minnesota, as one of the founding members of the Minneapolis, right? Minneapolis branch? You're based out of Minneapolis?
Minnesota, yep, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, based out of St. Paul. Okay. All right. And he is he is a trustee with the Restorative Actions. Restorative Actions is a reparatory justice, economic justice initiative with the Presbyterian Church that disperses reparatory funds to Black individuals and organizations whose ancestors descend from the U.S. chattel slavery. Can you explain a little bit about that part for us before we go any further?
So it's not reparations, but it's an economic initiative that the Presbyterian Church started. So there's organizations who, and I think that started in around 2020 or 2021. But basically, Black-led organizations who are doing reparatory work, we were trying to get if their ancestors descend from U.S. chattel slavery, we're able to disperse some funds to them. And so there's an application that you go to restorative actions, or you fill out that application. If it's in line with our reparatory justice ecosystem, we'll try to get, we don't have millions and millions of dollars, but we got some funds that can help get people going in the right direction.
Okay. So I know you from being the co-chair of the Green Party. You were the former co-chair of the overall Green Party in the United States. I definitely remember that. And prior to that, I think when we met, you were the chair of the Green Party Minnesota, and I think you were rising to the upper echelon level under can't remember the former president of the Green Party. What was his name? Tell me. Howie. Yes. We met Howie, and how we brung Howie down to Indianapolis, and I don't think you were a part of that. I think you were on other things, but definitely, definitely in the upper echelon of the Green Party. So basically, the bottom line is, you're not new to this. You've been doing this work for years and decades, and I definitely wanted to give people a sense of who you are and your biography, and there is more I want to share according to your NAACP work, your campaign situation with Marcus Walker for U.S. Senate in 2012. You're the campaign manager for Denise Buggs, Minnesota State Representative. So you've done a lot of work in the political spectrum. A lot of work, probably more work than me.
Man, we got to keep pushing, you know. It's a lot more work to do, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I remember us talking, and we both have a love for music. I think I took you down to a little mini setup, mini office that I had when I first got down in Indianapolis, and then later on, you never came back, but I wish you would have, because I built a major three studios that I had down there before I had to come back and break it back down and move back to Chicago. Anyway, neither here nor there. Let's talk about the situation with the Minnesota church protest. Now, I want to show the video just to give people a highlight of what it is, and then we'll come back to you. Do you mind if I show that video?
Man, I really don't want to talk a lot about the you know, I'm not supposed to talk about the case too much. So
right. What about if I just show the video and then we'll let that speak for itself for like 30 second segment of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you don't have to elaborate on it, and you don't have to elaborate on, you know, we'll find the happy medium. How about that? We'll find the happy medium. We'll definitely keep your integrity of this legal battle intact. Okay. All right. So let me show a little bit about that. And hold on.
Renee Good. Don't shoot. 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 Don't shoot.
Okay. So I'll stop right there, and let's bring me and you back in. And what I will say, just for the point of reference, is that you are in a legal struggle right now, and what can you say about that legal struggle?
Well, I just pled guilty yesterday in federal court.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I just pled not guilty yesterday in federal court.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm like, wow. Okay.
No, we just pled not guilty yesterday in federal court, and we're definitely gonna fight the charges. And so, yeah, that's basically what I can say about that. We're not guilty. We didn't do anything wrong. So
right.
I would just say that, you know, what ICE was doing here in Minnesota was causing a lot of havoc on our community, and it was just going on and off for, I think, since like December, and during January, three people were shot. Two of them died: Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And not only that, just people were being it was just like our community was being occupied. It was like 3,000 federal agents here, so it felt like a foreign invasion, basically.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about that. You know, the community that came out and supported. You've been in the social justice movement for years, like we had discussed. And had you seen anything like this? I know you guys had the George Floyd incident, which brought a huge amount of, and you were actually a part of the organizing fracture of the George Floyd. I remember that because I remember seeing you out there and organizing for that. But I mean, was this one of the most pronounced assemblies and mobilizations in Minnesota or Minneapolis that you have seen to date?
Pretty close. I mean, George Floyd was it was different. You can't really compare the two, but it's up there, definitely up there. But yeah, it is unprecedented the way people been looking out for each other, the way just making sure that churches are trying to make sure churches are safe, schools are safe, people's children aren't being separated from each other, making sure people have groceries, all of that, and demanding that ICE get out of the community too. One of the places actually where I was held when I was arrested was at Fort Snelling. And Fort Snelling was where Dred and Harriet Scott were held in bondage here in Minnesota in the early 1830s. So I was like, man, I'm in the same place where they had Dred and Harriet Scott. So it was just it was just wild, man. So I believe ICE is supposed to be drawing down here in next couple days, and I know the community in Minnesota in general is very very excited about that.
So let me just go back, and we're not going to hold you too much longer because we got to, I know we said like 20 minutes, but I just wanted to give a highlight of who you are. If you're just joining us, Mr. Cruz is one of 9 individuals, including independent journalist Joseph Ford and CNN host Don Lemon, who were indicted by federal authorities under the FACE Act. That's the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, which, honestly, I don't know a lot about it, but I just, from my standpoint, I say subjectively, it's just a bunch of mess, BS. But anyway, let me go forward. A little bit about the case background. The charges were related to the January 18th demonstration that interrupted a Sunday service at the city's church to protest against a pastor who also serves as an official for ICE. And, as Mr. Cruz said, he just pled not guilty. And the public response from local leaders, including Minnesota House St. Paul delegation, they've called for the release of the activists and just characterizing this arrest as a weaponization of the Department of Justice. And we've seen this weaponization play out time and time again, from calling for the arrest of the the New York Attorney General. Also, any people who were opposed to the Trump administration. And we're seeing this play out time and time again. So where we're at with this is that, the background of this has to matter because, again, the weaponization of the Department of Justice is really what we're seeing play out right with Mr. Cruz's case. And as we said, Don Lemon has been an active part of this, but I definitely want to distinguish Don Lemon's case from yours, because you being an activist, him being a reporter, but he's claiming freedom of the press. Even from your standpoint, freedom of speech, or whatever standpoint, I think that freedom of speech would apply. Either way, we do know for a fact that, the Department of Justice has been weaponized down in the St. Paul, Minneapolis region. And, we definitely won't mix words with that. At least I won't. So let me ask you a question. What is the road and the path and the way forward look like for you from here?
Just getting through, we waiting to hear from next court dates and things like that. But in the meantime, we're going to continue fighting for justice, fight for reparatory justice and police accountability here in Minnesota and across the United States. And then making sure we get ICE out of our communities too. There's still a lot of families here hurting in Minnesota who haven't received justice before ICE came. There's still people dying in jails and in prison here in Minnesota. And so we still got a lot of work to do.
Right. So for those who are joining us, Mr. Cruz pled not guilty in federal court for the incident. And again, he's one of multiple individuals, including independent journalist Georgia Ford and Don Lemon, who were indicted on felony charges related to the anti-ICE protests at the city's church in St. Paul on January 18th. He does have a major legal battle ahead, and we don't want to second guess that. So obviously, because of the legal battle, there's certain things that he's not obligated or he's not at liberty to discuss. A judge did. The good thing is a judge did order Cruz and the others released from custody without bond, which was a great thing. I'm sure you would agree with that part. How long were you locked up? Oh, we lost him. Okay, so maybe he'll come back, y'all. I want to play while we're at it, and we'll wait for him to come back. I want to share the screen of the Don Lemon part of the arrest and what happened after that. Give me 1 second, and let's bring that and let's play that.
Out of custody, but facing federal civil rights charges after covering an anti-ICE protest inside a church near Minneapolis.
Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news.
Appearing in Los Angeles federal court today, Lemon charged with conspiracy to deprive rights and for violating a federal law that prohibits people from interfering with the right to attend religious services, a move Lemon's attorney calls an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment.
I will not be silenced.
The charges stemming from Lemon's coverage of this protest during a Sunday morning church service earlier this month, where demonstrators say a pastor also worked as an ICE field director.
This shows you just how divided America is.
In Lemon's live stream from inside, you can see him interviewing congregants and a pastor who asked him to leave.
We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful of police officers.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
Lemon repeatedly identifies himself as a journalist.
I'm just chronicling. I'm not with the group. I'm a journalist. They're activists.
But the DOJ is grouping Lemon, who's been critical of the Trump administration, and another independent journalist who was also arrested with the protest organizers. Federal authorities arresting Lemon even after a judge had initially ruled there was insufficient evidence to do so.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Journalism rights groups blasting Lemon's arrest. His attorney saying Don has been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done.
And while Don Lemon was released without having to pay bail, the judge did place some restrictions on his release. He can't travel internationally without approval from the court. He also can't speak to victims or witnesses or any co-defendants without the presence of counsel in that case. Lemon has not yet entered a plea, although in the hearing yesterday, his attorney said he will be pleading not guilty, and the next hearing is scheduled for February 9th in Minneapolis.
So let's go back and let's really just discuss that. I think it's very important to really highlight. So Mr. Cruz, again, he pled not guilty. And if you are just joining us, we just had Cruz, and then he's one of the activists who was indicted with Georgia Ford and Don Lemon for the church protests in Minneapolis. And prosecutors have indicated that they may move to designate the case as a complex due to the number of defendants, but this could lengthen the time before trial begins. So it could be any amount of time. And the charges against them from a demonstration where the activists interrupted a Sunday church service to protest a pastor who's a ICE official. The U.S. Attorney General Pam Bundy described the event as a coordinated attack. Many of us in the social justice community do not believe that. So what are your thoughts? I'd like to go ahead and get some information from you guys and what you think the bottom line is. I think the bottom line from my personal standard is just when it comes to the weaponization of the DOJ and what we've seen, I think that and that alone is really the reason for what is going on down in Minneapolis. I think that we have to look at the weaponization of the DOJ as being the main thing that we're seeing play. Georgia Ford, and we want to be able to take this situation and call it for what it is. It's a mark against journalism. It's a political move like you've never seen, and there's never been a Department of Justice that has weaponized against its political opponents in U.S. history like this Trump DOJ, and they come under a lot of heat. Just want to know if you're just joining us. DOJ is the Trump DOJ is really weaponizing against not just journalists but any political foes who Donald Trump would feel like has either opposed him, been in opposition against him, or how he is weaponizing the DOJ. It's just you see it the FBI leaking instruction of you see it with Letitia. I mean, it's just never stop party officials who are tried to be by the DOJ. So seeing this weaponization play out in real time, and what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about where this thing is going to go, where it's going to end up, and what the future is like? Because Mr. Cruz and some of the folks have a very, very real battle on their hands. So if you're just joining, again, we're talking to Mr. Cruz, turned Cruz, and he's been a person who was indicted with 9 individuals, including Georgia Ford, Don Lemon, indicted on felony charges related to the anti-ICE protests. And I will share a link how we can help Mr. Cruz financially. I'll reach out to him as well and make sure we share that link. I do want to post. Let's pull up one person who actually made a comment about it. And I want to share the screen. I think it's very, very relevant that this particular person made their statement on Instagram. So let's pull up that statement. I think it's warranted. And give me 1 second, and we'll pull up his statement because I think it's warranted. And I'll play that. And this gentleman, Alfonso David, is someone who is definitely has a lot to say about it.
For being journalists, Don Lemon and Georgia Ford. If you think this is not about you, and you think this is about covering an event in a church, you're very mistaken. This is about you. This is about your civil liberties. This is about how you function in a democracy. We need to make sure that all of our voices are raised right now. So within the past 24 hours, 2 journalists have been arrested for being journalists, Don Lemon and Georgia Ford. If you think this is not about you, and you think this is about covering an event in a church, you're very mistaken. This is about you. This is about your civil liberties. This is about how you function in a democracy. We need to make sure that all of our voices are raised right now.
There it is. So we are in a state of our history to where we are seeing these federal indictments and conspiracies against liberal-minded leadership around the country, regardless of freedom of speech, regardless of freedom of the press. And, federal prosecutors have gone rampant in indicting people and the weaponization of the Department of Justice is just one aspect of administration gone mad. The charges from the demonstration of the activists who interrupted a Sunday church service to protest the pastor who was an official for ICE. The charges almost seem so inflated that, while U.S. Attorney General Pam Bundy described the event as a coordinated attack, again, we don't agree. I think that the defendants, including Ted Cruz, are well within their constitutional rights to do what they did. I do want to say that, we're seeing this scenario repeat itself, obviously, in a lot of different ways. But I do want to say that there is a similarly suited situation that I wanted to bring up as well, which is an interesting dynamic, and that comes from a pastor, Jamal Bryant, who, for those who know Jamal Bryant, this particular pastor is a pastor out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he's calling for the arrest of a protester who interrupted his church service. And I want to see if I can, if myself or any of the producers can bring that video up, because I think it's relevant. And hold on one second, and let's see if we can bring that up. While we're waiting, I just want to know, what do you guys feel about the situation with the protesters? How do you feel? How do you feel like this is going to play out, or that is playing out? I think that this tense moment that we're seeing that's playing out with Jamal Bryant is relevant, because if this person can go to a church and protest and not be indicted by the DOJ, then why is it that these protesters, including Don Lemon and Georgia Ford, Mr. Cruz, Ted Cruz, were indicted? So let me share the Georgia protests, and I just want to get back to get an idea of contrast here. It's very important. So bear with me one second, and we'll bring that up.
Welcome back. Well, now we talk about a tense moment caught on video at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Stonecrest, and it's highlighting a growing concern about safety in places of worship.
Yeah, that's right. So parishioners say a man went on a threatening rant inside the church, and now Pastor Jamal Bryant says it cannot be ignored. He's now urging the Attorney General to step in. 11 Alive's Danielle Nottingham spoke with him. And Danielle, what is his message tonight?
Well, Bryant says he wants this man formally identified, and he wants Pam Bondi to arrest him. Let's take a look at what happened.
The Lord Jesus Christ is going to destroy this church. He's going to destroy this church. And if you're in it when he does, he'll destroy you with it.
Bryant says the man is a pastor from Alabama. In the video, you can see he entered New Birth as church members were arriving for Sunday service last week. He doesn't enter the sanctuary, but instead goes on a rant outside the doors. You can hear the man threatening to destroy the church and calling members materialistic and race baiters. Bryant is comparing this incident to the arrest of journalist Don Lemon, who's facing federal civil rights charges for covering an anti-ICE protest that interrupted service inside a Minneapolis church.
I want to challenge that Pam Bondi, who issued loudly and nationally that worship is sacred space and should not be interrupted by protesters, with that same zeal and commitment that she had around the church in Minneapolis that was majority Caucasian. That same passion should stand for protecting Black churches as well.
Now, DeKalb County Police issued the man a no trespass order, which bars him from the church property. Bryant says he has not heard from the Attorney General yet.
So there it is, folks. How do you feel about that? I think that Thank you for that comment. Unequal justice. I think that there is a standard of unequal justice, because here's the thing: if this protester can protest and not be feel the need to be indicted by a Department of Justice, especially in the same umbrella as the Minnesota folks who got protested and indicted federally, then why wasn't this person even touched? So, the video that you just saw captures the man going on a rant inside New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, which is Jamal Bryant's church. And I think it's very relevant, folks, that even with the scenario that has played itself out, I think it's very relevant that we are seeing a double standard like none other. So let's try to keep an eye out for what it is. I didn't get a chance to get turned back, but I can definitely keep you in the loop as far as what's going on with his case. And again, if you are going to watch this, I will share, definitely he needs financial support. He's worthy of it. And I will share his GoFundMe on the link and on the address, and definitely will start pushing his GoFundMe so to get help with his legal fight on the ground. And I definitely promised him on that. And for us, Cruz, who joined us today to talk a little bit about his case, is one of the individuals, including Don Lemon and George Ford, who were indicted by federal authorities under the FACE Act, which is the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. We in the public, we in the social justice leadership community believe that it is a mischaracterization, gross mischaracterization of justice. So I will keep you guys in the loop as far as where we go from here. I will end this segment on a high note. We will keep you guys in the loop as far as Reverend Jesse Jackson and, basically the historical footnote of, what he was and what he, what's going on with him. And, we did talk a little bit about his passing. Reverend Jackson, again, was a towering figure in the American Civil Rights Movement. And again, for those, we discussed him passing away on February 17th of 2026. I'm going to leave with this. If I have any information, or once I get the information on the GoFundMe for Mr. Cruz, I will share that with you guys, and we're gonna build a coalition up, and maybe even go down on the ground in order to assist him with his legal battle and keep the push going. I mean, he's got a definite uphill battle in a lot of ways. And then in a lot of ways, I don't think so. But the federal government has run rapid with gross Department of Justice weaponizing against American citizens, including luminaries. So, this force of use of unnecessary use of force, of mischaracterization of the Department of Justice, is the likes of which we've never seen. So, we will keep everybody in the loop on that. By the way, folks, just a little bit, I said I was going to do the motivation of today. Motivation of today is stop asking blind people to proofread your vision, literally and figuratively. This is not a knock on blind people, just so you know. But basically, we're just suggesting that, if you have a vision, just go for it. All right. So that is where we're at. Leave you with another picture of Dr. King and a young minister, Reverend Jesse Jackson, right at the point when he first joined Operation, the SCLC. Actually, it was the SCLC, and I like that picture, by the way. So if you haven't, follow, like, subscribe to Amir Shakur Speaks broadcast channel. I appreciate you guys. And here's one question. So the Department of Justice is practicing racial bias in their decisions. Well, it's not even just racial bias. I mean, the weaponization of the DOJ is just equal opportunity insulting. I mean, just everyone. And, unfortunately, Beth, you've seen people even losing their lives because of the decisions of the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security, with ICE being unleashed. One person was seriously hurt down in Minnesota and 2 people were murdered. And those people were not Black or Latino or Hispanic, but they were white. So, I mean, I don't think it's racial. I think that there is a racial piece to this, but I just think that the criminal level of ethical violations are just that, criminal. So, we'll keep you guys in the loop on that. We'll keep you guys in the loop on what's going on with Mr. Cruz. We will pull his GoFundMe up, and we'll talk about supporting him on the ground in the days ahead. And I'll have a one-on-one conversation with him. I think he might have lost phone coverage. But listen, we're good. I'll share his GoFundMe. Look on the link and then we'll take it from there. And I will I'll definitely keep you guys up. So thank you for watching Amir Shakur Speaks. And, your voice matters. So thank y'all again. And if you have any questions, reach out to me at amirshakurspeaks@gmail.com. And I look forward to the next show, y'all. Peace.